Hey everybody, Modest Goddess episode, whatever this is. I'm losing track. That's a good thing, right? I think it's 7, 8. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to get right into it because today was eventful. And I'm going to start with the very beginning of my day, which was when I almost hit an elderly woman, and let me tell you why. Story time. I'm at the gym. I'm waiting outside for my boyfriend to come out from the locker room. We're gonna get our workout on. Then this lady turns the corner, this old lady, and she doesn't say hi or anything. She just says, "You know what's really great for weight loss? What I do every day is I have lemon juice in my coffee and I've just dropped all the weight. Look at my thighs." She started pointing out body parts. She's like, "Look at my thighs. Look at my arms. It really works. And you don't need to lift weights. Sometimes it doesn't help with the weight loss and you should try it." And I was like, "I'm really happy for you, but I'm not going to. Bye." I literally rolled my eyes at her while she was talking to me and she just kept going. And I was having a really hard time, but I did. Separating like that's her and her truth and not mine. But let me tell you how freaking triggering that was for me. I'm not alone in this. A lot of us struggle with body dysmorphia and just feeling good in our body meat suits out here on planet Earth with all the social media and people talking to us from all angles. And this is in style and that is in style. And I'm really a big believer of body types not being a trend. It's so rude for her to come up to me and assume that I'm at the gym because I'm trying to lose weight. I'm there to be strong, and I've made a very strong promise to myself, very, devoted promise to myself that I go to the gym, I lift weights to be strong, because if it's anything else, it's a very slippery slope for me. And she doesn't know that. She doesn't know my story. You never know why somebody looks the way they do, and you should never assume that somebody's trying to lose weight. I was so angry. I was so angry, and I was shook. And I kept replaying it in my head. Thank goddess I was at the gym so I could work out my anger, because that was really the first layer, was just anger. And I've been really trying to work with my feelings recently, and feel them. So it was really good to have some weights to lift while I processed this. But I was so shook and so in shock that I couldn't really say what I would have wanted to say. And I didn't really know what I would have wanted to say until now, which is I finally got to a place of compassion, but I really had to feel and process my feelings. So I will let you in on it. First was anger. I was really mad. Thank Goddess David was there. He took his earbuds out like several times and was like motioning for me to take it out and just was telling me really nice things about, my body, and that I shouldn't listen to her and all this, supportive stuff. So that was really nice to have that there, even though we all know what other people say doesn't really matter when it comes to how you feel about yourself and your body. So the first was anger. I was really angry. I was waiting for this woman to come out of the locker room so I could flip her off. Like, I was so excited to just be like, like so mad. And I really had to sit with that anger. Then once I processed the initial anger, there were many anger layers. I felt shame. I felt ashamed for the way I looked. I had to process that. And I was mad that I felt shame around it. I wish I could be someone that just, brushed it off and was like, that's her story, which ultimately I know, but I also had all these other feelings and I had to be truthful with myself. Okay, so shame. I processed the shame. I felt the shame. And then there was the victim. Then I started feeling like I was a victim of her. I was blaming her for these feelings that were coming up in me. And, obviously, if I didn't have these strong entanglements and attachments, I wouldn't have felt any of those things and I would have just brushed it off. But I did. So I was blaming her. And then I realized I'm not a victim. I'm fine. I know why I'm here at the gym. I work every day on loving my body and devoting myself to loving this meat suit. And I know there are so many more important things than the way we look. And she is very focused on it. And in her head, she was probably doing me a favor. And if I had the wherewithal, I would have loved to just make it an educational moment for her and been like, hey, why did you approach me with that? It's really not okay to do that. You're doing more harm than good. You know, just something to just, so she doesn't do that to another person. It's really just rude. Anyway, yeah. Then I finally reached a place of compassion. And I realized, look, she's an older woman. She comes from a time where being really teensy and shrinking yourself was how you got a man. So it's probably overcoupled and linked with her survival is being small and being skinny and losing weight, which is a big focus of, you know, my mom as well. You know, I've seen it my whole life, you know, women that age very focused on losing weight. And we're like really the first generation to start embracing being a little thick, being thick, curvy, you know, having lumps and letting it be okay. And I realized how threatening that is for her to see somebody that is proud in their body because they've worked so, it's been such a big part of their life. And maybe they're a little jealous of people that can enjoy their life and enjoy their bodies the way they are and not try and force them to be smaller. Okay, it was a really intense morning. I've kind of been processing it all day. You know, that's never happened to me before. And it was really just like, set me for one. I was like, well, even if I, you know, am fat or whatever, why is that bad? Who cares? Who cares? Like, I'm not here to be skinny. I'm not here to not take up space. I'm not here to shrink myself. I'm here to take up space and enjoy my life and love the skin I'm in and treat this body as well as I can. And sometimes that means enjoying things and indulging in things, and the result might not be a skinny mini version of me, and that's okay. So I was really like, why would the universe put this on my path? You know, why is the way she came up to me? I don't even think she existed. Like, she may have not even been real, honestly. Like, if David didn't see her, I would have been convinced that she wasn't real, because I waited for her to come out this locker room. Every machine I was going on, I was looking. I was like, I'm gonna flip this lady off. I was real mad. And, you know, she never came out of the locker room. She just went in. So I'm pretty convinced that she was just a messenger to anchor me in self-love. And I'm grateful for all these experiences and these messengers and the people that trigger the fuck out of me. Thank you, because that's how you grow. That's how you process. That's how you feel feelings. And I've been really into feeling feelings. I'm reading this book called Letting Go, The Pathway to Surrender. And it's been such a beautiful lesson. So many beautiful lessons in there. I'm a slow reader. I'm only on page like 70, but that's pretty good for me. And something that it's taught me is when you have these strong feelings, when we repress, like, these feelings are blocking us from their opposite. So maybe anger is blocking us from peace, right? It makes sense. But if you keep suppressing it and repressing it and repressing it, and you never let yourself feel it, you'll never make the space for its opposite to come in. And that's how I brought the compassion in finally, to just be like, hey, she's had a hard life trying to be thin, and her lemon coffee works for her. So good for her. And, you know, I probably would have been able to separate it more from the way I looked if she didn't tell me to try it, and say that I should try it. And that's what happened today at the gym. That was the start of my day today. And yeah, I wanted to share it with you because I think a lot of us struggle with these things, body dysmorphia. It's hard out here. You know, pressures from all over to be small, to be skinny, to lose weight. Just freaking be happy, because that thought, that over-consuming thought of our consciousness is blocking us from bringing the medicine that we're here to bring into the world. And that's really what I realized today. Like, the more I focus on dumb shit like being skinny, the less energy I have to make Modest Goddess, to paint, to do creative things, to bring my medicine into the world. So take what you will. We out here. And at the end of the day, I wanted to give that woman a hug and just be like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that the world has made you think that this is such an important thing that you need to approach a stranger who you do not know to tell them how to lose weight without even knowing if they want to, just assuming that because I have some extra thickness that I would like to lose it, which I don't know if I do. And this really made me think about it. I was like, well, if I did lose weight, then what? Then what? Am I happier? No. And it's like, I could talk about this all day because it's been such a big thing, struggle in my life ever since I was little. And this is what I know. When I was at my heaviest, I was the same weight for a very long time. And then I would say about like 4 years ago, out of nowhere, I just gained 30 pounds. Started eating gluten again. I was drinking again. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe a thyroid thing. I don't know. But I gained 30 pounds and I stopped working out. And I was the happiest I'd ever been in my body. I loved my body more than I ever had. I was comfortable showing it off in a way I hadn't been, and I was at my biggest. So I really think that all of this is just kind of bullshit. Like, we're being fed this thing, if you lose weight, you'll be happy. And when I think about when I was at my thinnest, when I was around 21, I had an awful eating disorder, awful body dysmorphia. I was miserable all the time trying to shrink and be something I wasn't, So I really think that speaks volumes. Just that at my biggest, I was my happiest and my most carefree and really just comfortable in my skin. And then when I was at my thinnest, I was my most miserable. And it's like, well, here I am. I'm just a person existing. I'm being strong, going to the gym. And that's what I feel I want to do with my body. And what do you feel like you want to do with yours is completely beautiful, acceptable, okay. Let your rolls out. Girls, don't listen to those old ladies at the gym, okay? They don't have your best interests in mind. Okay, which brings me, let's just cover some fun topics and some cool stuff, which literally was going to be the whole episode today. I literally walked into the gym and I was like, David, I'm so excited to record Modest Goddess later today. And you know what? I'm just going to go through some random topics. It's going to be a fun episode. I don't really have like a specific, topic or story today. And then the universe gave me one. So thank you. Still kind of processing, but we out here. Thank you for listening because talking it out has been helpful. So this is actually a perfect segue into my next topic, which was how you really know you escape the matrix of what I was just talking about is when you watch one of those commercials for like diet pills or whatever. Maybe it was Ozempic. I don't really know what it was for. I can't remember, but I was at the gym another time and on the screen, it was like before and after pics of people that lost weight. And I was like, the before pics, like they're slamming. Like, I really preferred the before pics, like for all of them. So that's how I knew I escaped the matrix. All right, next topic. Okay, let me tell you this story about this one time I taught Steve Buscemi yoga. It was pretty cool. So for those of you that don't know, I'm a yoga teacher. Maybe I'll release yoga classes on here one day. Who really knows? Life is long. Okay, so about 8 years ago, I lived in upstate New York, and I went to a music festival. And I was up all night doing who knows what. I think I took a little LSD. I was drinking, I was living my best life. And then I proceeded to get only 3 hours of sleep and I had to go teach in the morning. And I knew all this, but I was like, I will drink a lot of caffeine and get through it. I get to the yoga studio. I've got a big ass class and I was not expecting it. It was a Sunday morning. There's a bunch of people in the class. I'm about to get started. And then who's the last student to walk through the door It's Steve motherfucking Buscemi, okay? So I am still a little woozy. Bending over makes me feel a little nauseous. That's the state I'm in. And then Steve Buscemi walks in the door. So at first I'm like, is that Steve Buscemi? Oh my God, but they have to sign a thing. And I'm behind the desk and he signs in. I'm like, hi. He sets up and I look and I'm like, oh my God, it's Steve Buscemi. And my friend was in the class and he was coming out of the bathroom and he was like, that's Steve Buscemi. And I'm like, I know. Anyway, very flexible hips for his age. Steve, if you're watching this, I was impressed by your practice for sure. He drove a very modest car. I think it was like a Saab or a Volvo or something. And I was like, that's so modest. And you know, not everybody after class comes up to you, but he came up to me and he was like, great class. Like, thank you. What's the next one? Like, he was talking to me and I was like, oh my God. And now I watch films and stuff. I'm watching Wednesday right now. He's in Wednesday. I'm like, Steve, you've got such flexible hips, Steve. Love you. Anyway. Okay, next topic. All right, so as I said, I lived in upstate New York, which is like the hub of everybody who makes sourdough and kombucha and knits, and it's just like witchy, you know? So I'm pretty sure that sourdough and kombucha people, like they're in a cult. Hear me out. Okay, so every time I'd like go to a party or a gathering or anything, somebody would offer me either a sourdough starter or a SCOBY. And for those that don't know, a SCOBY is like a sourdough starter of kombucha, basically. And I'd always have to be like, no, like I can't even keep a plant alive. Like, please do not force your sourdough starter / SCOBY onto me. I can't handle it. And that's why I think it's a cult. Okay, next topic. Does anyone else still have like nightmares about schooling? Because I do all the time. I would say it's very much died down in the last like 5 years, it has chilled out a bit. But I used to like at least once a week have a nightmare that I missed a class for the whole semester and the finals tomorrow and panic. I never did the homework. I didn't write the essay. Like, why was school so traumatic? I think especially for neurodivergent people, like it was hard for us. Like we had to schedule things and do them. And like I was medicated and it was still really hard for me. Anyway, that's that. So yeah, I'm just waiting for those nightmares to just stop. That'd be great. Anyway, if you also have that, comment below. Also, if you have any stories about, you know, your struggles with your body dysmorphia or people coming at you about losing weight, feel free to comment that below. I would love to hear and share, and I'm sure other people would too. Don't forget to comment, to like, to subscribe. Tell your friends about this podcast if you enjoy it. You know what? Let's all send a little love to that old lady that harassed me at the gym this morning. She needs it. She needs a hug. Maybe her husband told her that she wasn't beautiful at any size, and that sucks for her. But we out here, cats out here, and we're not shrinking ourselves. It's almost 2026, people. Let's get thick. Let's take up space. Let's do our thing. Let's be happy. Let's be present and not worried about what people think about our bodies. Let's really ground in to practicing loving ourselves as much as we can. And yeah, that's the episode for today. Thanks for being here. Thanks for witnessing my stories and what I'm going through now. And I hope that you can relate and receive. And I love you. And I'll see you in 2 weeks.